Sonny Hostin's back. Sonny Hostin's back. And Morning Joe went to Mar-a-Lago to kiss Trump's ring. Now, I have the clip of Morning Joe. I almost spit out my coffee because Joe Scarborough rejects criticisms of meeting with President-elect Trump, massive disconnect. This went viral, I suppose, yesterday. And like I said, we stepped on the butterfly somewhere. And it must have happened on election night. I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to kind of give you my thoughts on it.
Over the past week, Joe and I have heard from so many people, from political leaders to regular citizens, deeply dismayed by several of President-elect Trump's cabinet selections, and they are scared. Last Thursday, we expressed our own concerns on this broadcast and even said we would appreciate the opportunity to speak with the president-elect himself. On Friday, we were given the opportunity to do just that. Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart communications. My father often spoke with world leaders with whom he and the United States profoundly disagreed. That's a task shared by reporters and commentators alike. We had not spoken to President Trump since March of 2020, other than a personal call Joe made to Trump on the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful, he was upbeat, he seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we? 5 years of political warfare has deeply divided Washington and the country. We have been as clear as we know how in expressing our deep concerns about President Trump's actions and words in the coarsening of public debate. But for nearly 80 million Americans, election denialism, public trials, and January 6th were not as important as the issues that moved them to send Donald Trump back to the White House with their vote. Joe and I realize it's time to do something different. And that starts with not only talking about him, but also talking with him.
God, I've seen snippets here and there. I was really trying to contain myself. Oh, these two idiots. That's what they are. Folks, for years, they said this guy's a threat to democracy. He's a threat to the republic. He's going to tear the country apart. This guy right here, this guy goes, if he's elected, Donald Trump's going to start arresting people and executing them in the streets. That is almost an exact quote. I don't want to hear anything these two idiots have to say. And I'm using that word as clear as possible. They're not idiots in every regard, right? I hate when people do that. Well, you called them an idiot. Yes. In regards to them giving the news, yes. Because I had to listen to them complain for years about how this guy's a threat. And then all of a sudden, you just want to go to Mar-a-Lago and meet with the guy. Oh, he's not so bad. Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah. Well, we're going to sit there and open lines of communication to get him. We're going to cover Trump and talk to him. You know why they're doing this? Because the ratings suck. That's why. CNN, you guys, during prime time, CNN, this is MSNBC, but CNN was getting 60,000 views. That's insane. There's YouTubers that get way more than that. Not even close, way more. Every live stream, they get way more than that. Like Dan Bongino has like hundreds of thousands of people watching him every live stream. Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles. I mean, all these people are getting views more than CNN is. So they have to change because, I don't know, they're going to go out of business, or hopefully so. But I don't feel any different to Joe Scarborough, who has sat there and spewed his garbage about Donald Trump for years. And I'm not exactly like super like loyal to like Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to bend the knee to the guy. I'm a big fan of Trump, obviously. But all of a sudden, people's ideas of him are just suddenly just flipping on a dime like that. All of a sudden, it's just, oh, yeah, you know, he's pretty cool. He's a good guy. It wasn't cool in 2016 to support him. I would know. I was one of them. None of my friends in Hollywood would talk to me still. None of them. I had friends, as you guys know, I'm part of the Screen Actors Guild. I'm not a great actor. I will never pose to be a great actor. Matter of fact, I suck at it. A lot of my friends that I had found out I voted for Donald Trump. None of them talk to me anymore. Maybe Cliff would reach out. Maybe Cliff. Other than that, none of them. Which is sad because I liked them. I actually enjoyed their friendship. But I lost all because it wasn't cool. It wasn't normal. Now all of a sudden everyone's wearing the hats, right? Doing the Trump dance, went viral, which I'm all for. But I don't want to hear Joe Scarborough's crap here about like, oh, well, you know, we got to cover him now. We got to say things. Yeah, well, we'll see if you cover him fair all of a sudden, because I don't know why you would go meet with a guy that's a threat to democracy. I sure in hell wouldn't. I wouldn't. So here's Sonny Hostin saying that they basically kissed the ring as if Trump's a king. Trump is not a king. Look at that face. Jeez, well, what the hell is that? Not planned. Not planned. Eesh.
Look, the bottom line is that America needs a free press that is willing to speak truth to power right now, more than ever. And I think that we have to be very clear-eyed when we think about the president-elect and cover the president-elect. And I don't think you need to sit down for 90 minutes at Mar-a-Lago and kiss his ring to be able to speak truth and to be able to cover a story. So maybe they're not journalists in the true sense. Maybe they're saying that they're opinion journalists. But we have to remember that Trump is the guy who ushered in the era of fake news. He is the guy who ushered in alternative facts. He is the guy who attacked 3 black female journalists. He's the guy that revoked Jim Acosta's press credentials for asking him a question. And so...
See how they manipulate that? It wasn't about just asking him a question. You kept interrupting the guy. You were sitting there unprofessional. That's why everybody knows who Jim Acosta is. The guy's a jerk. Nobody liked him. The White House press briefing room didn't even like Jim Acosta. The guy created it as a circus and a freaking zoo, which is why the White House, not press secretary, but the White House, like correspondence corps had to sit there and implement and reevaluate what they were doing to be more professional in the room, because Jim Acosta's a freaking clown. And he should have had his press stuff removed because he was disallowing other people to get questions in because he kept interrupting the President of the United States, Kayleigh McEnany, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, hell, whoever else was part of the White House press, because it was bad. So don't give me this stuff. And by the way, let's call out stuff. Notice that she sat there and chose to talk about Donald Trump removing somebody's press badge. How about Simon Atiba right now hasn't had a question in over 2 years? Not over 2 years, but pretty close to 2 years now. Simon Atiba actually had his press badge, right? It's literally the African-American guy, not just a black guy, African-American dude that covers Africa, sat there and got his press badge removed and kicked out of the White House for a while. And, no talks about that. Not racist. No, not that. Can you imagine if Trump removed a press badge from a black person? How they would have been up in arms. How could they? How could they do it? So what's happening here is because the people that watch The View are so ignorant that they actually can't tell when they're being manipulated by one of their hosts.
I think that this president-elect, I hate to say it, would like nothing more than to have only Fox News cover him, would like nothing more than a state-sponsored media. And I don't think he can be trusted in the way that other presidents can be trusted. This is an aberration.
But the reality is he doesn't just have Fox News. He didn't do a lot of
Somebody else screenshotted it. Oh, that's great. Oh, thank you. Who was that? JB. Oh my goodness. They must have good ratings because people are clearly tuning in because they keep espousing this nonsense. You have to be a pretty thick skull to spew kind of this. I mean, I don't know if you read between the lines, right? Basically calling him a racist, right? Because he went after black reporters allegedly. Trump goes after everybody. Trump goes after everybody. If you sit there and go after Trump, Trump's going to sit there and give you the boot to your face or a punch to your jaw. That's just who he is. He's a bruiser. He's a roughneck guy. He's from New York. Like, that's who he is. And they don't get it. He attacks everybody that goes against him. Welcome to Trump. Welcome to Trump. For some odd reason, they can't sit there and self-reflect that maybe, just maybe, some of the stuff they say is wrong. I'm not saying everything they say is wrong. Obviously, they're entitled to their own opinion.